Hello and welcome to Smart Phrase Center Academy's Q&A series. My name is Marcus Lomax. I'm a technical manager at SFC, and today we'll be diving into questions related to carbon accounting and reporting in relation to ISO 14083. There are two approaches. First one is an energy-based approach, and the second one is an activity-based approach. In an energy-based approach, you are either directly obtaining the energy or you are modeling the energy related to the transport in question. When we're talking about energy, we're obviously talking about fuel. So it's the fuel required to move a vehicle or vessel a certain distance carrying a certain amount of goods. And so this is either obtained through primary data or model data. In the case of an activity-based approach, this is a situation in which you are lacking, for example, energy-related data or fuel consumption data, and you have access to, for example, transport activity data, typically in the form of ton kilometers, and therefore you convert the activity data into emission data by using what's called an emission intensity value. Whereas in an energy-based approach, you are directly converting the energy or fuel consumption data into emissions with the use of what's called a fuel emission factor. So primary, model and default refers to the different data quality types that you can use to calculate emissions. So these are either primary and secondary data. Primary data is directly obtained energy consumption data. So in the vast majority of cases is the most representative value when it comes to emissions. And modeled and default data is what we refer to as secondary data, and is used in a scenario in which we do not have access to primary energy or fuel consumption data. And depending on the operational data related to the transport, we can either model the fuel consumption with a high degree of reliability, depending on the load characteristics or other characteristics. And ultimately, if we only have access to rudimentary transport activities such as ton kilometers, we can therefore refer to industry average emission intensity values, and that's what we refer to as default data. Previously we referred to the different data input types, and there is a certain hierarchy. So we want to be calculating emissions as representatively as possible. And so if you do have access to primary data, you want to be referring to that. And if you have data related to the operational characteristics of the transportation taking place, then you might want to model the fuel consumption or the energy consumption related to the transportation. So you want to be calculating using the best data available to you. So that's why you want to be using primary data in the first scenario and secondary data in the second scenario, which is either modeled or default. Thank you for joining us throughout this Q&A series. Stay tuned for the next video about what is transport activity, what are the different distances that you can use to calculate transport activity, and why does ISO 14083 require the use of the shortest feasible distance or the great circular distance.